All right, welcome to episode 37 of Winning with the Home Team. I'm Katrina.
I'm Todd.
And today we have a guest, Mr. Jayson Smith.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for asking me. You must have really had to scrape the bottom of the barrel. Can't imagine the amount of people that actually said no before you got to me.
No.
But I appreciate it.
No, that's not true. That's not true. So the topic of today will be March Madness. But before we get into that, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors. One of our sponsors is Exquisite Irrigation and Landscaping. If you're looking for a top tier landscaping and irrigation in the DFW area, Exquisite Irrigation handles it all. So go to their website, visit them at exquisitelawns.com.
Also, one of our sponsors, because we have Player of the Week and we have Coach of the Week.
Yeah.
Because of rain, we're really mad that we don't have one of those this week. But our sponsors are still with us. We love them. One of them is Lionheart. Lionheart Children's Academy. They've been around for 10 years.
Yep.
Safe, loving. Can't say enough good things about Lionheart. Go to lionheartkid.org to find out more about them. They are here and they do a phenomenal job with kids. Go check them out.
Yep. Yeah. So, Todd, like you were saying, we did not get to have our opening day this Saturday because of the rain. So that's okay because we got the whole entire weekend to watch March Madness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you do baseball most of the weekend?
Most of the weekend.
Yeah.
I kept an eye on the scores, but it's hard to do both.
Yeah.
But that's why he's here.
Yeah.
Well, I got to say, full disclosure, I was at a daddy-daughter dance during Duke and Houston, so I didn't actually see all the game. I did rewatch it for this.
Yeah.
But I was doing that too because I don't know if you ever been to a daddy-daughter dance?
Multiple.
So for you, did it turn into daddy sit at the table, daughter go play with her friends?
Well, eventually they all do.
Right.
I think,
so I'm sitting there just as the music's going and looking at the score and just trying to act interested. And,
right. Were you surrounded by other dads?
No, it's funny.
Okay.
So I was the only one at the table, but of the surrounding tables, there were dads doing the same thing. And it just made me giggle. So I didn't watch it live, but I did end up seeing the replay.
Yeah.
No, Jayson, you were our number one pick because when we thought about a dude who could, talk basketball with us, your name was the first name because we knew that you're going to watch the majority of the basketball games.
Yeah, if I can, I will watch basketball. I know my wife hates it.
Michelle hates it?
She told me when we met, she goes, I don't know why I'm with you. I hate basketball. She's a huge Cowboy.
Wait, was there a long pause between those two? I don't know why I'm with you, and then also she hates basketball. Or
I think she tried to put a pause there, but no, she hates basketball.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, but the funny thing is, she hates it. But when she watches the girls play, sometimes I'm afraid she's going to get arrested. Because she's that into it. But truly, if she could watch anything, it would not be basketball.
Really?
So, but she tolerates it for me, and So,
and you've passed it on to your girls.
Unfortunately for her, yes. She would prefer something else. I don't know what she would prefer, honestly, because she loves football.
Yeah.
Michelle loves the Cowboys, and she was a Texas fan until I guilted her out of it. But
because you're working on that.
Well, the thing is, I was like, so why are you a Texas fan? She goes, I don't know, I'm from Texas. I was like, so you're like these Walmart Texas fans. I can't stand Texas. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway,
praise the Lord, hook 'em horns.
I mean,
that's what Nick Schaefer would say. Praise the Lord, hook 'em horns.
I would say it like this: the people that I have met that were Texas fans that didn't go to the school are the most obnoxious fans I've ever met. Every year they're going to win the national championship. Yeah. Every year they're going to do this. And look, right now they're really good.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm a Nebraska fan, so I can't say anything.
Yeah.
Misery's like the back of my hand. But I know they're terrible.
Yeah.
It is a difference.
Yeah.
Sorry I got you off on that.
No, you're good.
Not at all.
No.
Not at all.
So Jayson, you mentioned you have two girls.
Yes.
How old are they?
Sydney is 12 and Jordan is 10.
Yeah.
Sydney is a 6th grader and Jordan's a 4th grader.
Yeah. And, I would venture to say that they probably are the most skilled basketball players that will feed into Young or Martin right now. Right now.
I don't know. I hate to say yes. Sounds cocky, but they've worked at it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're pretty good right now.
They are good.
But I've told them over and over, you know, I knew kids that were really good when I was their age,
Yeah.
and I passed them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe because they were physically more developed at that point. So basically, I'm just like, keep working.
Yeah.
Don't settle for right now.
Right.
Because tomorrow's not promised.
Yeah.
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 But right now, yes, they are decently skilled basketball
Right.
players. That's
Yeah.
about as far as I'll go.
Yeah.
Because they're going to watch this and they don't need the big head. I
Yeah.
promise you.
Shout out to Michelle as well. I mean, I had no idea that she hates basketball, and yet she comes and rebounds for you sometimes. So, Michelle, I had no idea. So,
Let full transparency. She comes to yell at me when I miss shots and complain when the ball goes further than she wants to run. Like if the ball bounces between us, she looks at me like, you're going to get that right. So, I mean, it's not really fun for me, but because if my kids do it, they just do what I say.
Yeah.
Michelle, I do what she says. So
Okay, but what do you do to reciprocate if she comes and rebounds for you?
oh, that's a good question.
What do you
this
do
is a
for
good
her?
question.
I only see the basketball side.
So I'll go to the other room and watch basketball so she can
So she doesn't have to.
yeah, so she can watch whatever she wants to watch. You know, we go to her favorite restaurants and stuff.
Yeah.
I try to take the kids sometimes out of the house so she can have time to herself.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I teach and I'm not home from 7 to 4:30.
Right.
Mhm.
And so she's got all those responsibilities, especially when they're out of school.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I try to kind of take them away from her because they're a lot.
Yeah.
They're a lot.
Did you hear that, girls?
They're a lot.
Yeah.
Like it's just constant fighting,
Yeah.
constant. And this is my fault. It's just constant. What do the kids call it today? Roasting.
Uh-huh.
That's
Roast, yeah.
all it is.
Well, there's only 2 years apart.
Yeah,
Or 2 years
Yeah.
apart. That's
Yeah.
normal.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they're very competitive about
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
And so,
I don't know where they got the competitive nature
I
from.
mean, they're-
Yeah.
but you know what's funny? Michelle says she's the biggest competitor, not necessarily in sports, but when we play board games and stuff.
Yeah.
She's like I need a better term. I'm gonna say it, and then if he wants to edit it out, she's a rules Nazi. She's a rules Nazi, right? She'll get the rule book out of any game, Monopoly, whatever, and find the rules if there's a discrepancy.
Right.
And it's she's competitive. So people think it comes from me, but I really think it comes from her.
Now, I have seen Jordan and Sydney playing on the same team,
Mm-hmm.
and the death stare that Jordan has given Sydney in the middle of a game.
Oh, you've seen that too.
and
huh?
I'm like, wow. Like there is some passion behind their game.
Yeah, Jordan is a lot more emotional
Yeah.
in the moment.
Yeah.
Sydney reflects a lot more.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't do it in the moment. She'll think about what she did after the moment. Jordan, reactionary.
Right.
And the death stare comes from me because I used to give Jordan that death stare when she would, when I would tell her something like, we're not shooting the ball anymore, you need to pass it.
Yeah.
And then she'd come down and just shoot the ball, look at me as she's running back and she made the shot and I'm giving
Right.
her the death stare. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, sub. So
Yeah.
and then I'd sub her out. She's like, why'd you sub me out? I'm like, I just told you not to shoot the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they every time they do something, I'm like, that's me. And I can't even get mad. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's me.
I understand your need to be humble raising kids.
Mhm.
Like we all get that. But I think both of us would
Yeah.
agree that like they're great.
Mhm.
They're you raise some really good girls.
Yeah.
And they are really good basketball players.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But I really like the fact that they're straight A students
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that people.
They get that
Teachers-
from Michelle, by the way.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, I get that from her. But people always tell me they're such great kids. They're so well behaved, and I'm thinking, why aren't they like that at home?
Yeah.
But I do appreciate that they at least do that outside,
Yes.
so they're not
Yeah.
embarrassing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so
That sounds
shout
like
out-
parenthood
Yeah.
in a nutshell.
Yeah.
shout out to Jordan and Sydney for not embarrassing me.
Yes. Yeah. Whatever that you and Michelle are doing, that they are very,
Yeah.
very good. Very good.
I
kids.
appreciate that, and
Yeah,
I think Michelle
sure.
would appreciate to hear that too.
Well, let's jump into to some March Madness talk. Okay, so let's do this. I'm gonna outline the Final Four as far as the boys and the girls.
Okay.
And then you just tell me who you were rooting for or who you would like to win.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you were watching the game, who'd you go for?
Yeah.
Let's start out with the girls. So the Final Four, you had UConn and USC. Jayson, who'd you go for?
I was going for SC, but I knew they didn't have a chance without Juju Watkins. Yeah. But
Why were you going for USC?
Because I don't like Gino Auriemma.
Ty, what about you?
UConn.
UConn?
Because I'm a legacy guy, and I love to see legacies continue to build. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Honestly, in that game, I did not have a preference. I wanted it to be a good game, and it was not.
Yeah. It was not a
UConn
good
won
game.
by 34 points,
Yeah.
which was telling.
I think UConn showed by far that they were the best team in the country.
Yeah.
They blew out everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
They had such good team. They were balanced because everybody knows Paige Beckers and the strong kid, this freshman, but the shooter. Oh, I can't remember her name now.
Thud.
Yes,
Yeah.
AZ Fudd.
Fudd.
Excellent shooter.
So pure.
They were just very well rounded.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of these other teams, 1-2 girl shows.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so usually the well rounded team's going to beat the 1 or 2 girls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
What about South Carolina and Texas? Who are you rooting for? Well, I already know.
No. I was actually rooting for Texas.
Wow.
I was rooting for
Why?
Texas. I don't really have anything against Texas basketball, honestly. It's really just the football.
Okay.
So, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But no, I like the way I saw Texas play a couple times this year, and I like the way they play. I like their coach. So yeah, I was rooting for Texas for sure.
Yeah. What about you?
I never root against anything Dawn Staley touches.
Okay.
To me, she is
Everything she touches is gold.
gold. Yeah.
I was rooting for Texas, mainly because I had followed the Longhorns, throughout the whole course of the season. And really I liked, I liked the coach. Every time he had to put an interview in the game, he'd say, the end of it, he'd say, hook 'em horn, or praise the Lord and hook 'em horns in his Texas country accent.
Really?
And I love that. Yeah, every single time.
that, yeah.
Every single time. Well, not every single time, but a lot of the time. Like, you knew he was going to, quote unquote, sign off by saying, praise the Lord and hook 'em horns.
So, have you been surprised at all of the faith that has been interjected lately in college sports?
Have I been surprised? Probably. I would say no.
Really?
No. I mean, I think. Maybe I've just come to expect it to some extent.
I don't understand because I watch what has happened on campuses like Ohio State,
Yeah.
Or
As far as
Auburn.
the revivals.
The
that
revivals that are
Yeah.
happening,
Yeah.
or what happened with the Auburn men's team, and what Bruce Pearl has done there, and you see clips of a TCU player, that
Van Lith.
that shares her faith, and from a player over here, and it's just, to me, it just seems more prevalent today than it has in a really long time. Maybe I'm paying attention.
Yeah.
Do you think it's more prevalent, or do you think the cameras are catching it now?
That's a great question.
know.
Because I think it's always been there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think faith has always been in sports. I mean, when I grew up, it was in it.
Yeah.
We would pray before football games, in the end zone, after football games, basketball, stuff like that. I just don't know that for some reason it seemed like mainstream media wanted to cut out religion from a lot of things. And maybe because of who's in the office now, maybe that's more accepted. I don't know.
Yeah.
But could be.
I know that even on a high school level, I won't name the team because they got blown out, and they get blown out consistently. But a high school baseball team that before the game, they go down the right field line. They didn't do it in front of the dugout. They didn't do it in front of home plate. They went way down the right field line where they were out of the way, and they were like on fire praying for each other. And I took a picture of it because I'm like, this is incredible that this team is not a good team, but yet like it was just impressive to me that those kids were. I mean, we're not just talking about saying the Lord's Prayer and moving on.
Right.
Like they were legit praying for each other.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, something is happening that is changing, and I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking, whether I'm debating on whether I should say this or not. but now I have to since I said
yeah,
it.
now you have to.
You know, I guess I kind of hold that loosely. Not that example at all, but specifically, you know, when
I know where you're
players
going with
when
this.
players are mentioning their
Yes.
faith, I kind of hold that loosely because it's easy to say praise the Lord, hook 'em horns when you were the number 1 seed.
100%.
And, you know, do I think he says that all the time? Yes, he does. That's just an example.
Yeah.
You know, Van Lith, right? She experienced a lot of success this year in the victories.
Yeah.
Do I think that God changed her life? Absolutely, I do. Yeah. But yeah, I kind of hold that loosely because it's like, I think that, you know, on our podcast, you know, we talked about the book, Does God Care
That's
about
exactly
who
what I
wins,
was going to
right?
say. Yeah.
I hold it loosely because I'm like, you know what, I'm not going to judge them, but I'm not going to hold it in a high regard either. Do I think it's a great example for the youth that's watching it? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think I'm always on alert for, maybe it's because we've gone through that already on the podcast, but I'm always on alert for the, you know, they put the camera in front of your face. Hey, I want to give God all the glory. Now let me tell you everything that I did. And so but the kind of things that I'm seeing and what I'm talking about seems to be different than that. It seems to be more genuine.
Right.
I was going to say the fact that team keeps getting beat and they're doing that so passionately lets you know that it's real and it's not just talk, you know, and like you said, praise God. Now, did you see the 30 points I scored? Those rebounds, that dunk. So it's more genuine when you're doing it even with adverse situations.
Yes. And way out of the way so that like you're not doing it so that people can see that you're doing it.
That's the other thing. I think for a while the fanatical side of religion got a bad rap. And so I think, and I didn't fall into this, but I feel like sometimes people feel like they got to hide their faith.
Yeah.
And I think now, for whatever reason, I think people are like, I'm not hiding it anymore.
Right.
I'm going to shout the word. And if you like it, great. And if you don't have to listen.
Right.
So,
yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
Sorry, I got us off topic.
No, it's great. It's a great question. So in the natty, the girls' natty, were you going for UConn or South Carolina? I think I already know your answer.
Staley.
Dawn Staley. Yeah.
I didn't have a rooting interest. Texas was the team I wanted to win.
Yeah.
But I kind of knew UConn was going to win, and it was very obvious. Like,
such a good team.
Yeah, midway through the second quarter, it was very obvious they were the better team.
Yeah, I was shocked. I was shocked at how much UConn pulled away. I loved the matchup between Gino and Staley. I loved it. I thought that was the matchup that stage was set for. Yeah. You know, I don't know that I could have predicted it at the very beginning. Did you predict that?
Well, they had played earlier in the season, and I believe UConn went down to South Carolina and whipped them. So I kind of thought that was going to happen. I thought maybe Staley would have some adjustments. But, hey, when you have the better players and they're executing what they're supposed to be executing, it's hard to stop.
I mean, you mentioned it earlier that they're a total team. That UConn team was a total team, and they were all year.
Yeah.
If you had a choice to go play for one of those two coaches, who would you play for?
South Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah, I was rooting for UConn just because I loved the poise of the freshman Sarah Strong.
Oh yeah,
she was so fun to watch.
Yeah.
She was so good. Like everything about her, like her game just seemed very pure.
Yeah.
And so every time she shot the ball, whether it was 3-point shot or, move down low, I was like, man, you're a freshman.
Yeah.
Like you're a freshman and you're playing with such poise.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing that really struck me about her, and you said poise, that's a good word. Most players, especially young, when they get the ball in the post, they want to go quick.
Uh-huh.
What she was doing is she was playing at her own speed. She wasn't getting sped up. And really, she was abusing girls 2-3 years older than her.
Yeah.
Only because of her poise.
Yeah.
I mean, she obviously has the skill, but she was doing what she wanted when she wanted.
Yeah.
And you could tell that she had total control of what she was doing. And it was awesome to see for someone. She's 18, 19 years old.
Yeah, 19
years old. Yeah, she's a baby. And she's making those 20-year-olds look like babies.
Uh-huh.
So.
On April 26th, she committed to UConn of last year. Did I say April 26th? April the 6th, she committed to UConn. And then April the 6th this year, she won the national championship.
That's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Really
That
cool.
is cool.
That's really cool. That's awesome.
And if you saw Dawn Staley on the sidelines, I think she was thinking, I got 3 more years of competing against this. Every time she'd score, you just put her head down.
Yeah.
She's like, I got 3 more years of this.
Yeah.
She needs to declare early.
Fortunately, they're not in the same conference. So,
Right, but they're probably going to meet in the tournament next couple years. So
honestly, yeah. I mean, Jayson, you mentioned it. I was a little bit let down on how many adjustments Dawn Staley did not make. Like when I watched her on the sidelines, the majority of the time, and this is a coaching style between Gino and Dawn. I'm saying their names like I have a personal relationship with them. But like she was sitting down most of the time. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I know that UConn was playing lights out defense and they were firing on all cylinders. But like as a coach, like you go in to make adjustments, don't you? Like, how do you do that?
Yeah. But you use the word style. Like I love playing for a coach like that because to me that says, hey, you guys are going to figure it out. I will help you. I'll make adjustments, but I don't have to be up in your face.
Yeah.
I don't have to be in the ref's ear the entire game. There's a trust factor as a player that I need to have with a coach. And if I see that Dawn Staley has composure, and yes, I know I'm biased, but she always has composure, and she does. Like she may get a little bit vocal, but she's always seems to be in control, and she always has the trust of her players. And I think once you reach that point in the season, like you don't need to be up and scream. You don't know what adjustments she did and didn't make, during between whistles. But like, I don't know. I really enjoy coaches that seem to have it all together.
Yeah.
So what it looked like to me is it looked like she was sitting there dumbfounded because I think she was sitting there thinking, we worked on this. We worked on this. We drilled this for the past, how many days? They had a day to prepare for the game?
1 day, yeah.
1 day.
So they're like,
That's it. Not much.
So there was a play where they set a ball screen for Beckers, and she took the ball screen and shot a mid-range jumper, and you could see the defeat in Staley's face because it's like, we worked on this.
Yeah.
And at that point, I think as a coach, you're almost defeated. Like you don't want to show it, but she kind of showed it.
She kind of
showed it, and I think she didn't mean to, but I think the players picked up on it, and I think that's why the game got out of hand.
Yeah.
But I mean, that again, my opinion. I think she's a great coach.
Yeah.
So,
100%.
no disrespect, obviously, but I just felt like there was a couple times where she couldn't understand why something was happening, and it was defeating for her. And she's human, so she's allowed to do that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Todd, what about you? Would you want to play for Gino or Dawn?
Well, I mean, obviously Dawn, but like,
not that you're a female.
Well, no, but I mean this, like, I want to go play for a coach that doesn't panic in the moment, because I don't think I'm going to panic in the moment. All you're going to do is cause more anxiety for our team if you do that. And yes, she goes to battle for. We've seen countless examples of her going to battle for her players, but to me, she comes across as a coach who has it together. She's been there, obviously done that, and she just has this, I don't know, this aura about her that like, hey, I'm in control all the time.
Yeah,
all the time. Yeah. That's a coach that I want to play for.
And not legacy like Gino is what you mentioned.
No, I love legacy.
Yeah,
I love program legacy.
Yeah.
I mean, there is no better coach than Coach Saban, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm a legacy guy.
Yeah.
But if you watch Coach Saban, if you go up to him in the mid third quarter of a game, random pick a game and say, Coach, what's the score? He has no idea. He has no idea what the score is, nor does he care, because he's coaching what's in front of him. Now, as it gets closer to, fourth quarter, he's going to have an idea of what they need to do and how they need to get there. But he is so busy coaching his kids. That's what creates the legacy. That I think we lose sight sometimes of, you see these programs like a UConn or like a South Carolina, even throw in Texas, like you see these programs and how well they do. I think it's because of the culture that's created.
100%, yeah,
and
for sure.
And it's not the talent, I mean, you alluded to it earlier about the team. That it doesn't just happen that way. You don't throw 5 people on a court and all of a sudden, boom, they have chemistry. A lot of that comes from the culture that the coach creates. And so I think Gino, great, but like the coaches that I see that put it all together are the ones that come in and say, this is how we're going to do things, and they work on it, and that's why you have the legacy built up on those coaches.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the hardest thing with coaching, especially at that level, is getting the buy-in from the players. Because if you think about it, every player on UConn was their high school's best player, and probably their best player.
100%.
And probably the best player in their state.
Yeah.
So to get that player who was averaging 25 points to come to UConn to get 6 shots a game and have to defend and watch Paige Beckers and Strong and Fudd get all the shots, you got to have culture for that. Otherwise, they're going to be like, I'm just as good as this girl here.
That's a great point.
So I think that the culture, that's where the culture starts, is the buy-in of what we're doing.
Yeah.
And, you know, you see it when teams don't have it, when they have all the talent and everybody's about me and they're a 500 team.
Yeah.
So
over and over again, I would watch these post-game interviews, and when asked about, how is it that you're able to do X, Y, and Z, they always spoke of their team and the trust that they have in their team.
Yeah.
I think I watched one interview where the interviewer said, "Hey, I know that you don't like talking about Paige Beckers." It was Paige Beckers. I know you don't like talking about yourself, but tell me, how are you able to reach this level of success? And she threw it back to her teammates.
Yeah.
I just have a great team, and I trust them, and they're all playing lights out. And so with that culture that you're talking about, I think that they really do believe in each other, and the
100%.
culture goes back to it.
Yeah. And, your statement is so good about every one of those girls was a superstar in high school, right? They were the best player on their team.
Yeah.
And it reminds me, so we have a friend that went to the Naval Academy, and we were talking one day about, when you first get there and they put you in a gym and they're like, okay, everyone stand up. These are all the cadets and the recruits. If you were a varsity athlete, stay standing virtually the entire gym.
Yeah.
Stay standing. If you have a 3.5 GPA or higher, stay standing. And they go through all these things.
Right.
And at the end of it, almost everybody there is still standing, because everybody is the best of the best from where they come from. Yeah. And yet you have to figure out how to take all of those groups of individuals that are just fantastic and make them gel together. And I think doing that on a team, especially when, you're talking about superstar athletes at that level.
Right.
Man, that is hard to do. And you find a coach that can do that, you found something.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Good. Moving on to the guys portion of it, we'll do it again. I'll say the Final Four game, and then you guys tell me who you're going for. The first one is Florida and Auburn. Jayson, who are you going for?
Not really. I guess Auburn. I was going for Auburn.
Yeah.
Even though I picked Florida to win it in the tournament bracket. I liked Auburn's story. I like Jahani Broome. I liked his game a lot. And I hated to see him get hurt. Like, that really affected how they played. But I was going for Auburn.
Auburn.
Yeah.
Todd?
I don't root for Auburn for anything.
You're an Alabama fan,
Right,
of
an
course.
Alabama fan.
Yeah.
I mean, I was happy. I wanted to see an all SEC Final Four because I'm an SEC guy. I'm Alabama SEC guy. I just can't find it in my heart to root for Auburn for anything. Although I do like Bruce Pearl and the way he goes about his business. I really do. But no, I'm not rooting for Auburn.
I didn't have a dog in the fight. I didn't care.
Yeah.
No, didn't care at all. But I did care about this next game. Houston and Duke. Who'd you go for, Jayson?
Houston. I can't stand Duke. It's been
same.
Since I was a kid and Christian Leitner played for him. I just
Same.
I can't stand Duke.
Do you remember the shot? Christian
that was
Leitner's
like
shot?
one of the first games I ever saw, and like I liked that Kentucky team.
Yeah.
I was a huge Jamal Mashburn fan.
Oh yeah.
And that was heart wrenching.
I loved Bobby Hurley. I loved Bobby
He's a great
Hurley.
player. He was a great player.
And so I don't have an issue with Duke. You haven't even asked me yet, but like,
Who did you go for?
I didn't care in that game. I really didn't.
I would like to tell the listeners out there that I was going for Alabama when Alabama played Duke. I texted Todd and said, "Roll Tide."
Yeah, she did.
Roll Tide. But they lost.
Thanks for that memory.
Wasn't close either.
Which, honestly, I gave myself some credit because last year Alabama beat UNC.
They did.
And here I am going for Alabama.
For 'em. I know.
Where was UNC this year?
Yeah, they went home after the first.
Is I didn't even remember them playing. I'm not doing that to throw shade. I don't even remember them playing.
They barely made the tournament.
Yeah, but
That's
they did
right.
win.
That's
They did
right.
win a game.
They were the play-in game.
That's right. Okay, now I remember.
Yeah.
And then honestly, did they win their first game?
They won
the round
the
of
play-in
64.
game. I don't know if they won that first.
Do they count so when they say tournament record, do you get a win for your?
I don't know.
That's a great question.
I don't know.
That's a great question.
Play-in? Because
I
I
don't
don't think
know.
I don't think you should.
Probably
I
not.
don't know.
I mean,
Probably
when
not.
2 16 seeds play, like should you really get a win?
But they
for
were
that?
an 11. I mean, they were the two.
No, yeah. Then
you know.
then they're the 2 11s.
Yeah.
But
You're right though.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that should count either.
No, let's just say it doesn't. I'm okay with
Dean
it.
Smith wouldn't count it. I know that.
Yeah, that's for sure. I'm okay with it. Yeah. National championship. Who'd you guys go for? Florida or Houston?
Houston for sure.
Yeah, Houston.
Yeah, Houston for me too.
Yeah, I'd like to see a
Yeah.
Texas team win.
Yeah. Let's go back to the Houston Duke game because Duke lost and Houston handed it to him.
You said that with so much joy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Dean and I watched that whole game. It was the late game that
Mm-hmm.
came on, and at the half, I think Duke was up by like 6, and I looked at Dean and said, "Do we finish this game or do we go to bed?"
You make that call?
I mean, no, I don't.
No, I mean
no.
Michelle makes that call.
No.
I just wanted to know if you did too.
You're along for the ride.
No.
Yeah.
So we decided to stay in there and have hope. And I mean, Duke was up pretty much the entire game, weren't
Oh,
they?
Duke.
Yeah.
Duke choked that game away.
Yeah.
And I think it was a testament to the difference between playing with juniors and seniors and freshmen. Because that last sequence where I think they hit a 3, steal the ball in the inbounds, the last 10 seconds, right?
Yeah.
Steal the inbounds and get the and one dunk. You could just see on Flags and Knippel's face there, they were in shock.
Yeah.
Like even when they walked off the court,
Right.
they couldn't believe what just happened to
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Because that's not supposed to happen to them. They're Duke. And
Right.
Yeah.
Flags the #1 pick. Great player, by the
Yeah.
way.
He is a great player.
Guy does everything. But I think
See
that
you
was
later.
a difference in wow. But I think that was a difference. I think, when you're playing with juniors and seniors that have, and juniors and seniors have been there before, they don't panic.
Yeah.
And Duke panicked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you could see it all in their face at the end of the game. So.
Yeah. Well, so last night we finished watching the Florida and Houston game. Florida won on. I mean, really, was it a last second or a last play type thing? It was, yeah, because
Well, Houston had
almost
Houston
they had
the
an
ball at the end.
opportunity,
Yeah.
and they shot it.
No, they didn't shoot it. Houston didn't shoot it.
Though they tried to. They ran a play and
went to
tried
shoot
to.
it,
Yeah.
and he had to let it go because
Yeah.
he'd have traveled if he touched it again.
Man,
so.
what an ending to a national championship.
Yeah. When,
That's not the ending that you want, obviously, if you're Houston.
Yeah.
But
In fairness, I did not see it. I was at a baseball game with my child, but all of the dads in the background are doing this about the game, and I'm hearing, "Oh no, Houston's run away with it. Houston's run away with it." And I kept thinking, "Okay, I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna watch the highlights. This will be good." And then you could hear them talking, "Oh my gosh, oh my gosh," and it just kept getting, the lead kept shrinking, and then when the ending, we were still at the game when the ending happened, and I was like, "I'm not going back and watching that." That
it was bad. Like Houston had it in the bag, and I don't remember the guard. Do y'all remember the guard's name? The freshman that's really good for Florida.
no.
I don't.
But he wasn't having a very good game, and in fact, the coach pulled him. And
Yeah.
when they pulled him, I think Houston was up 10.
Yeah.
And when he got pulled, I believe Florida cut the lead to 4.
Yeah.
Then put him back in, and then he started playing well.
Right.
So it was one of those things where he kind of got to relax a little bit, watch the game. And once he got back in there, he took over the game.
Yeah.
And watching Houston it was tough. Houston couldn't get anything on offense at the end of the game because Florida ratcheted up their defense, especially on the guards. And good win for Florida.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question for you. I have one ticket. You can go see the women's Final Four or the men's Final Four. Which one?
This year, or
I mean, okay, we'll say this year.
because last year with Clark, I may have taken the women's with Caitlin Clark.
Okay, well, yeah, that makes sense.
That's why. So
that makes sense.
most years I would take. Sorry, girls, I'm taking the men's Final Four.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
No, I appreciate your truthfulness.
So the difference in the men's and women's game is strictly athletic ability.
Uh-huh.
And it's like
I don't think that you can measure the athletic ability between the two. I think they're completely separate.
Apples and oranges.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Agree.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying women aren't athletic.
Yeah.
But they're athletic in a different way
Right,
than men.
right.
Whereas men, you can see it a lot more in the games because they jump higher.
Right.
Like last night,
Right.
Houston and Florida, you could tell
Yes.
how athletic those teams were.
That was a great game.
It was. And like white guys like me are like, well, that's why I couldn't play on that level. Because I'm watching these guys jump and I'm like, man, even when I was young, I couldn't do that. And then they're 6 inches taller than I was. So, but yeah, men's game is just, for me, it's just more exciting.
Yeah.
I do love watching girls basketball and the fundamentals,
Mm-hmm.
but if I had to pay for it, I'm going to go watch the men play.
Yeah.
What about you, Todd?
You know, I go watch the men. We went and saw Texas Tech play this year at A&M, the men.
Yeah.
And the whole time, my mouth is just open at the athleticism that you're talking about because it's just incredible. Like Florida, one end of the floor to the other. But you go to a women's college basketball game, and I would even go I would even go to our league. Like I enjoy the girls' side more than I do the boys' side. Just the competition of it, I think, is more fun.
Yeah.
I think it's, I don't want to say more pure of a game because that gives the wrong connotation because that implies that the boys' game is not. But I enjoy watching the girls play more. I feel like it's a better competitive style game. If I want to just go watch people fly around and be athletes and just be in awe, I go watch the men.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how I see it.
It's a no-brainer for me. I mean, I think I watched way more women's game, hands down, than I did the men's games.
Is that because you're a woman, or is that just because you enjoy the game better?
I think that's a great question. I think first and foremost, I'm a North Carolina fan. Specifically, before I was a girls basketball fan, I was men's North Carolina basketball. Watched it every single year, right? So, you know, I feel like I got to the women's game way later, as in last year later, you know, like, so, you know, I enjoy the girls' game. I think it's a little bit more methodical. And I would say probably, you know, you guys are absolutely right. The men are beasts, you know, as far as the level of athleticism.
Yeah.
But I think the girls, you know, and maybe it is because I'm a girl. I'm okay with that, honestly. It's more methodical. It's, in my opinion, it's a little bit more team based. You know, that could just be my opinion, but yeah, I like to watch the girls.
I think I know where you're coming from, and a lot of it for me has been watching 5th and 6th grade girls play basketball and seeing the difference between that and 5th and 6th grade boys. I love watching those girls play basketball because you mentioned the word team. That's such a good way to put it because it seems like it's more built around the team game. And I think that's what draws me in.
Yeah.
Whereas you find a 6th grade boy that can dribble and hit a three, the ball is going to him every time down the court.
Yeah.
And to me, that's awesome. I love seeing that, but that's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Give me the team game.
Yeah.
You know, and I see more of that in the girls' game than I do the guys.
What about your girls? Did they watch more of the women's game or the men's game? What were they most interested in?
I'll be honest. They don't watch basketball live. What they do is they'll find it on YouTube and they'll watch basketball.
Okay.
Now, I do monitor their YouTube consumption, and I would say it's about even.
Yeah.
I've asked the girls which game they like better. Obviously, they're like, Dad, the guys dunk, and they say it's because they're just like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I want to see someone do something I can't do.
Yeah.
But there was no bigger Caitlin Clark fan than Sydney last year.
Yeah.
I spent hundreds of dollars on merchandise. So
that's cool.
But yeah, there was no bigger fan of Caitlin Clark than Sydney. And I do agree with what you said. With girls, I've noticed coaching both girls and boys, girls take their failures personal. And I think boys typically try to blame other people. At least from my experience. Like the boys are always like, that's his fault. That's his fault. It's the ref's fault. It's, you know, whatever.
Okay,
Excuse they want to come up with. And where the girls, they like take it to heart. And I think they almost play harder and more ferocious than the boys.
Ferocious is a good word.
They are mean.
Yeah.
Like the girls, like when they get catty, that's not a right word, but when they get competitive, they get almost dirty with their competitiveness, and I love seeing it. I personally like in my
get dirty, and I love seeing it.
No, I like seeing the competitiveness, and like I used in my practices, I would purposely sabotage Sydney and Jordan.
Yeah.
I would put them in situations they couldn't win.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see their reactions. And like I would give them balls that wouldn't bounce and tell them they couldn't pass, they had to dribble, and just to see what they would do.
Yeah.
I would play them 1-on-4, see what they would do.
Yeah.
And they didn't look at me and say, "Dad, you're making it unfair." They were mad at themselves that they couldn't get it done in an impossible situation.
Right.
It taught me a lot about girls. And I just think they take it more to heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to be like, I don't want to make an unfair statement and say, guys play with more ego, but guys play with more ego.
They do.
They play
I can speak from experience. They play for more ego.
Yeah. And I don't think that's just basketball.
Yeah.
No.
I think that's just universal athletically.
So, Jayson, let's transition to talking about your two girls for a second. We probably have about 5 to 7 more minutes. As Sydney is going into junior high next year, right?
Yes.
And Jordan will be in the fifth grade. Fifth grade.
Can't believe it.
5th grade. Do they play club sports?
No, I am I am really trying to delay that.
Why?
I don't want it to become a job for them. I want it to stay fun. Also, I feel like a lot of club teams focus on specialization, meaning they only play basketball. And right now, they need to play all sports. They need to train all muscles. And, basketball at the end may not be their sport. Jordan's a very good soccer player. Sydney's a very good soccer player. They're both very good softball players. And look, I'm not trying to brag. I'm just to their peers.
They're good athletes.
They're good athletes, and they're good at a lot of things. So I don't want to pigeonhole them just because I played basketball.
Right.
I don't want them to think they have to do what I want to do.
Right.
I want them to do what they want to do. I did the club thing. I didn't do it till about 8th grade. And looking back, it taught me a lot, but it kind of made it not fun because we ended up playing all over the country in tournaments, and we would play 200 games in a summer.
Wow.
And
that's insane.
And it just never stopped.
Yeah.
And I don't want that from them. I want them to enjoy sports right now as long as they can.
Yeah.
And just make it fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I haven't done it. I know it's coming.
Have they asked?
Oh yeah,
They've asked.
I've had people get my phone number and just text me randomly. Hey, we saw Sydney play here. Hey, we saw Jordan play here. We'd love to have her come out and try out. And first, I'm like, why would you contact someone like that?
Yeah.
Like, make it personal. But yeah, they've been asked constantly. I just don't want that for them right now. Like right now, they're playing soccer and they love playing soccer. So, I just don't want the specialization because a lot of coaches are like, well, if you don't play this, they're going to fall behind. That's not true.
Yeah.
Parents, that's not true. Let your kids play all sports because at the end of the day, I'm not going to name the name, but Sydney has a classmate right now that does nothing but basketball, and she has knee problems. And I truly think
as a 12-year-old or 11-year-old,
11, 12-year-old who may not even hit puberty yet, and she's already got knee problems. That's from overtraining.
Yeah.
And that's specifically just playing one sport at all times. So that's why I'm against it now. But I do know it's coming. Oh, do I know it's coming? But I'm trying to keep it away from it as long as I can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I thought, we've talked about this ad nauseum. I thought the hardest thing for me was going to be trying to explain to my sons, no, you're not going to play select anymore. Like, we're done with all that. And really they came to it on their own, and I think a lot of it had to do with once Colin reaches, once he reached high school and he saw, wait a minute, I don't have to go play, like you're talking about 200 games in the summer, and I'm still getting letters from colleges that want me, like, you can actually really just play in high school. And it's such a myth out there that you have to do that. Go ahead.
this is the thing, and I've noticed about at least basketball. I don't know how it is in baseball. Yeah. When I grew up, select basketball is different. So like me and maybe two other guys on my high school team played select basketball. So it was the best player, 2 or 3 best players on each high school team to play. Now everybody plays.
Right.
It's very watered down.
Yes.
And a lot of times the coaches aren't in it for the players. They're in it for the money.
Right.
And you can tell which ones they are because they don't practice.
Yeah.
And they're not developing any skills. Yeah. They're just showing up for tournaments, rolling the ball out and say, let's play.
Right.
And really, if you wanted to do that, you drop your kid off at a rec center and have them play basketball.
Right.
Like, if you're going to pay that kind of money, I want to see development. Then because that's what you're there for. Yeah. But I think a lot of these coaches now are in it for the wrong reasons. It may be the same in baseball. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, for a guy that's been there, in the context of having played, selector club basketball, and for the situation that you're in now of having 2 girls who could absolutely hang with a club or a select team, I think it's wise based on your experience and what you know. And too, I mean, the fact that they're asking and you're still saying, I hear you. We're going to get there, but let's tap the brakes for a second.
Well,
I think that's wise.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Sydney's going into middle school or junior high. What do they call it? Junior high here?
Same
thing. Okay.
Yeah.
So she's going into junior high. She's going to play whatever sport they have, right? And who's to say basketball's a sport? It could be something else. And I don't want her thinking, I have to play basketball because dad's paying all this money for me to play basketball. Right. I want her to pick whatever sport it is or whatever. It couldn't be anything. Dance. It could be. She's in orchestra.
Well,
she likes playing instruments too. So, I mean, it could be anything. I just want her to feel like it's her choice only, and I have nothing to do with it. I'm just there to sit there, cheer her on, and if she needs something, I'm there. Other than that, I'm not making the decision on what she does.
Yeah. Can I tell you the one thing that I think helped me understand this more than anything else is having a daughter that was good at ballet. And I'll tell you why. I know nothing about ballet. Even after she made it all the way through, I know nothing about ballet. And that helped me more than anything because I didn't have the ability to go, you know what you need to work on. You know what you need to do better.
You had no input to give. Yeah.
You know what I did? I showed up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I cheered.
Yeah.
When she was, I applauded.
Which is the main role of a parent on the sidelines. It's to show up, and cheer.
Yep. And throughout the whole thing, I had no input because I didn't have the ability. Yeah. It's different with the boys, and I can say, you really want to throw that pitch on 3 and 1? I do
the same thing.
But I've learned even with that now, chill, dude, like let your boys be boys. And it's been such a slow, we talk about it on this podcast every week, but it's been such a slow progression for me to make that change. But I'm so thankful that I had a child that was good at something that I knew nothing about because it really took all of that away from me.
When your boys were coming up, did you ever have the discussion with them about, I'll just say, so Sydney last year, this time last year, I asked her, I said, so is this for fun for you? Basketball. I said, is this fun for you? Or is this something you want to be serious about? I said, because if you want to have fun, I'm all for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can continue doing the whatever league, city league or whatever. And then when you play junior high, I'll be sitting in the stands cheering you on.
Yeah.
And you will hear nothing else from me. I said, now, if you want this to be something you want to do in high school, perhaps past high school, I said, we're going to have to start like getting serious.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way. I said, you can't just practice the one time a week.
What'd she say?
She said she wants it, but then her actions show. She says one thing, and sometimes her actions show another, and so I've backed off.
Yeah.
I want her to make that decision organically instead of me forcing it. But I just wanted to let her know, at some point, not even now, but coming up, you're gonna have to make a decision. Like, is this something you want to do for real, or is this just something you want to do until you can't?
Right.
Till you don't make the varsity team or whatever it is you want to do.
Yeah, because I lived in fear that they were going to tell me what I wanted to hear.
Right.
And I'm like, man, I don't want that for them. I
Michelle,
want them to.
You said that you lived in fear because you were afraid that they were going to say what you wanted to tell them.
Yeah. So
that statement in and of itself could be a podcast.
Yeah.
Let's note that down.
Well, last night I'm watching Sai play. Sai is 14 and he's playing select basketball, and we're sitting, because of the way the sun was and how cold it was, like we wanted to be in the sun. So we were sitting kind of close to where the other team was, really. And over here behind me are these group of dads, same ones that were keeping me updated on the basketball game. But steadily, the whole conversation is about college. What are you doing to prepare? How do you? And I'm like, oh my God, we're gonna have to move just to get away from this conversation, because it is nails on a chalkboard to me. And I think to myself, oh my gosh, I hope that I have not put that kind of pressure on my children to feel like it is college scholarship or bust.
Yeah.
And you know, I was young when I first started having kids, and in my early 20s, they probably got that from me because it was drilled into me. Drive. You have to have it. Yeah. And so now, you know, as I'm not going to say old like you say I am, but as a mature late 40s, I will say that I live in fear. I mean that. Like, I live in fear that they're going to tell me, yeah, Dad, I want to be practicing, you know, 3 times a day. I want to practice if I can, because they think that that's what I want them to say. But what do you really want to do? Do you really want to play trumpet in the band? Okay. You know, I'll swallow hard and say yes. Yeah. You know?
I fear that too. Like, just tell me what you want and I'll support you.
Yeah.
Don't tell me because my athletic career is over.
Yeah.
It's been over a long time. I have come to grips with that.
Yeah.
This is about you.
Yeah.
So if you want to play in the band, play your heart out.
Right.
But if you want to play basketball or volleyball, do your best in that too.
Yeah.
But don't feel like you have to do something for me. And Michelle's been really harping on me about this.
Yeah.
She's like, you know, Jayson, sometimes I think they tell you what you want to hear. And I'm like, that's the last thing I want to hear.
No.
Yeah.
And it's just hard, because I remember do you remember when you started training Jordan?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
She was like in the first grade.
So she played basketball. I think her first year of basketball, she was 5. No, it was 4. She was 4.
Yeah.
And she played in 4. She was okay. 5, the rim got a little higher, the ball got bigger, and she would literally go in when the game would start. She would literally sit in the lane while the game was going on and cry.
Yeah. You told me that. Yep.
And cry.
Yeah.
The whole time. And I'm sitting there like this. Oh my goodness. Do I go out there and get her? Do I let her cry?
Let's just go to Brahms.
I was like, can we just leave? And I'm like, and I'm sitting there, and Sydney's 6 at the time, and she's doing her thing, and she's showing that she wants to do it, and she's playing well. I'm like, well, at least I got one that's going to play sports, right? Well, after that season, I talked to Katrina. I said, look, she's not easy to deal with.
Yeah.
But she's
Katrina or Jordan?
Both. But I was talking about Jordan. I was talking about Jordan, and I was like, look, she's not easy to deal with. She's going to tell you how she feels.
Yeah.
I said, but she says she wants to start playing basketball. So I said, Katrina, would you take her on for a little bit? And she did.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest. Whatever you did with her, because I was hands off. I know you told me some parents like, would you work on this, and this? And I'm like, well, why are you paying her if you're going to tell her what to do? So I was like, Katrina, do whatever you want with her. Just She made such a leap after that. Like we were going to her. She was 6, and Michelle was late to the game, right? And Jordan's starting. I text Michelle. I said, look, Jordan's starting. If she plays at all, it's going to be the first 5 minutes, so you better get here, right?
Yeah.
So she starts the game and hits a shot. I text Michelle, well, she's already made a shot. This is probably it. You missed it.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Mother of the year.
Michelle.
Now, in Michelle's defense, she was getting Sydney ready for her game.
That in and of herself.
Yeah. So
conquering.
But we're still going to throw her under the bus.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Jordan, I'm not lying. I think Jordan had 20, 25 points that game. Yeah. And I'm like, wow. And it was all because she told me. And I asked her, I said, what made you want to do that? And she goes, watching Sydney and how much people loved her for it. Those are her words. How people loved her for it.
How did you take that?
It made me feel, I didn't know how to take it. I'm like, I don't want her to feel that that's her only worth.
Right.
Yeah, 100%.
But But I was happy that she saw something positive Sydney was doing and wanted to mimic it.
Yeah.
So,
right.
I was like, well, listen, I was like, I'm gonna love you no matter how many points you score. I was like, if you never dribble another basketball again, you don't have to worry about my love because it's here.
Yeah.
I was like, but if you want to keep playing, I said, I think you can be pretty good.
Yeah.
And she goes, well, I'm gonna try it. She goes, but I'm not. And this is her at 5 years old, 6 years old. But I'm not promising you anything. I'm like, fair enough.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I've told you this. I wanted to thank you for whatever you did. She did a 180.
Yeah.
Because I remember you in there. I saw you frustrated a couple times. I know you wanted to curse at her, and I would have.
No, I never wanted to curse at Jordan.
And I would have let you hit her or spank her or something if you really wanted to.
Stop.
But it was. She said the reason I've asked her later on. I asked her why she responded to you. It was the way you stayed positive.
Yeah.
I came from my head basketball coach in high school. Literally played with Mike Krzyzewski under Bob Knight at Army. So that's what I got.
Yeah.
And so I try to dial it back, but that's how I am.
Yeah.
Right. I'm very to the point, no
Yeah, we know.
BS.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You've seen
but
me.
Jayson, but we have seen you. And you have. I mean, I think that you have. Even though that's how you were raised, I think that you have dialed it back tremendously.
I have to because
you understand girls,
right? And I can do that with my kids.
Yeah,
I can't do that with someone else's kids.
Yeah,
no, because I don't know. I think I would be okay with it, but maybe not if I saw someone else yelling at my kids like that. So I had to take that into consideration. Like I was like, do I really? How would I really feel if someone was talking to my kids the way I talk? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I dialed it back a little bit, and the girls that I had, y'all gave me. Did I draft them or did y'all give them to me?
You drafted them.
You drafted
the girls that I drafted were excellent.
Yeah.
No. I don't mean basketball players. They were good basketball players. I mean,
they were just
human
girls.
beings.
Yeah.
They were terrific.
Yeah.
Like I had the best set of girls, and the next year I did everything I could to draft the same girls.
Yeah.
Because I didn't. At the end of the day, I don't care about winning a kids championship. I'm about relationships and building kids.
Yeah.
So yeah, Jayson, I know that's true. Man, we could talk for the next 30, 40 minutes about what we see in you and how good you are. But you really are a good guy. You're a great dad.
I try.
You're a great dad.
I've got a lot to learn. Dude.
As do I.
Yeah.
But thanks for coming on.
If you need any notes,
I'm taking them. I'm taking them.
You can try my way, but I would go another way.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for listening to episode 37. This is, I guess, our March Madness episode. It's over, and now we can go back to soccer and everything outside with the spring. So, Jayson, thanks again.
Thank you for having me. It was really fun. I had a good time.
All right. Awesome. We'll see you guys next time. Man, thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed hearing us ramble about youth sports or other strangely interesting sports topics related to families, please go and like and subscribe to the show so that you can get regular updates when a new podcast is released. We'd also love to connect with you. Head on over to our socials. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We're under LC Sports and Recreation.
And if you're new to our podcast, go check out some of our previous episodes on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. There's some good stuff on there. And pay attention because these come out pretty quickly, weekly, as a matter of fact. And you're going to learn a lot about what we have to say with regards to our league and how to win with the home team.